This might ruffle some feathers, and I'm not trying to tell anyone how to run their games. But I think low magic games feel like the most magical games of all. Hi, I'm James, and I currently have 5 different flavors of Cheez-Its in my pantry, and every box of them is open. Also, did you know that 4 Cheez-Its have 6 cheeses? Look at the ingredients. I gotta imagine someone in marketing was just like, we can't say 6 cheeses. No one wants that much cheese. That's overwhelming. Anyway, I'm here to dork out about dungeons and design on Crumbling Keeps, the Dungeon Dorks. Magic. What is it? A lot of different people have a lot of different ideas about that. And I think largely it's one of those things where it's safe to sum up that you know it when you see it. You know, like pornography. For the purposes of this discussion, magic is a way to break the rules. Science? Anyone can do science. If you add 1 plus 1, you get 2. But magic, 1 plus 1 equals mind-bending horror and maybe a fireball if you can just think about it sideways and upside down, because magic breaks the rules. What's that mean in an RPG? To break the rules, it has to have its own system outside of the rules that everyone else has to follow. Thieves don't have spell slots. Fighters don't worry about a spell's level. They don't have to worry about appeasing their gods or studying ancient tomes. They also don't have to worry about dying in AD&D because of a series of unlucky rolls in a fight with a house cat. But the same can't be said for magic. It is still its own little subsystem. Spell slots and spell levels, they exist because we want magic to feel differently. A fighter doesn't have sword slots. A thief doesn't have pickpocket slots. But spells have spell slots, and spell levels are different than character levels because it's its own system. So that when you use magic, you know it's magic because it feels like nothing else in the game. Swivers by Luke Gehring and David Hoskins, and I'm only marginally sure that's how it's pronounced, continues this tradition. But its subsystem for casting spells is actually blackjack. You have to get a 17 or above to fire the spell, and you can't bust. You can't go over 21. If you have a spell component, I believe you get to choose a card or something. I don't exactly remember what it was, but there are ways of mitigating your risk through in-game story type things. And I'll say it's the most unique magic system that I've seen, and certainly different from anything in its own game or any other game. Magic needs all these different rules so that it can break the rules of the rest of the game world. Magic isn't lawless. It follows its own path, its own rules. But the rest of the rules it can ignore to create some truly stupendous effects. So let's go back to what I mentioned at the beginning of the episode. Low magic campaigns, low magic fantasy. For me, for magic to feel real, well, to feel magical, it has to be mysterious. As mentioned above, yet it follows its own rules, but to the outsider, these rules probably aren't visible. They're a carefully guarded secret. Part of that is magic feeling unfamiliar and vaguely threatening. Well, not always vaguely. In the Conan the Barbarian world, which I have a huge soft spot for, magic is rare. Magic is unnatural, and it takes a heavy toll on the world and the wielder. Sorcerers are very powerful, but often terrible, cruel, and mad. Counting the good magic users in the Conan stories is not a hard task. You don't have to count too high. Conan brings his sword to bear against these sorcerers to great effect. Because magic users are rare and to be feared, it makes magic feel potent and unique. It's mysterious and awe-inspiring. Now let's contrast this to a place like Sigil, the city of doors, from the Planescape campaign setting in Dungeons and Dragons. You can go pretty much anywhere in the multiverse if you just know the right portal and the right key to open it. Everyone from everywhere travels through this city. Genies and elementals and magic users from any number of prime material worlds and stranger things yet. Its appeal is how common the fantastical is, and that's fun in its own right, for sure. And it can inspire a lot of whimsy. But I don't know that it feels sacred or strange in the way that magic does to me. Magic has been on my mind a lot lately because of my Dungeon 25 project, which is still going strong at this point. I am as surprised as you are. I want to make my own system for it because there are certain things I want to emphasize, and I don't want to paste a setting over a pre-existing system this time. I actually want to do the opposite and make the system work for the type of story I want to tell. PCs start not knowing any magic. They come from a culture without it, from far away from where they end up during the course of the game. But they can be taught spells by the natives of the new place that they are in, or they can find old scrolls and books. And I want it to feel strange to them. And I almost want to make a different system for every spell, which sounds insane, but I think also would speak to the rarity and how special each spell is, if each one has its own conditions to fulfill and its own mechanical systems. I haven't decided to be that batshit crazy yet, but I certainly haven't decided not to. It's important to me that my magic system is unique and follows different rules from the rest of the game. I certainly don't want it to just come down to a d20 roll, but I haven't figured out what it will come down to yet. I'm curious, do you have any input on this? Have there been any magic systems you have come across in games that really impressed you, or you just felt were really unique? Maybe you wouldn't use them, but maybe there's something there, an inspiration. Or do you have a cool idea for one yourself? Go to crumblingkeep.com/question. crumblingkeep.com/question and tell me about it. I might just put you on the show. You can find a link in the show notes. In any case, thanks a lot for listening. I hope this gave you something to think about. And next time someone is casting magic missile, maybe you'll have some feelings about it. And above all, I hope you have a magical day. Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you have any questions about anything I talked about here today or on any past episodes of Dungeon Dorks, go to crumblingkeep.com/question and ask away, or just check the link in the show notes.